Welcome, everyone. I'm absolutely thrilled to have you here for this explainer today because we're looking at a massive hidden legal gap that is quietly opening up right beneath our feet. We're living in this era of explosive, rapid AI innovation, right? We've got machines writing code, designing art, literally inventing new drug compounds. But behind this whole technological gold rush, there's this antiquated system of intellectual property laws that, frankly, simply weren't built for machines. Today, we're going to explore why your most valuable AI-generated assets might actually have zero legal protection. Okay, let's dive right into this. Here is our agenda for today. First, the AI ownership illusion. Then, copyright's human requirement, followed by the patent problem. After that, we'll hit blockchain's unfulfilled promise, jurisdictional nightmares, and we'll wrap it all up with the future of IP. So I want you to stop and ask yourself a really crucial question. If you use a large language model to write a book, or maybe an agentic AI to develop a brand new software tool, who actually owns that output? Is it you, the AI creator, or nobody? There's this profound conflict happening right now between the dream of AI-generated wealth and the terrifying reality of intellectual property vulnerabilities. Because think about it, if you can't own it, you can't protect it. And if you can't protect it, your entire business model might literally be built on a house of cards. Let's start with Section 1, the AI ownership illusion. We are right in the middle of an unprecedented AI wealth boom. Entrepreneurs are launching micro-SaaS businesses in 30 days flat using no-code platforms and AI agents. We're seeing fast-growing companies built entirely around AI content generators like Jasper and Writesonic, or AI art platforms like Midjourney and DALL-E. The goal for a lot of people is to create these automated passive income streams where the AI handles the heavy lifting, essentially acting as a self-sustaining revenue engine. But here's the massive oversight. While it has never been easier to generate content and digital assets, the legal void underneath these businesses is absolutely staggering. Let's compare the two. Take a traditional human creator. When a person writes a book or designs a logo, they're legally protected. They have clear authorship, they own the intellectual property, the whole shebang. Now, contrast that with an autonomous AI agent. Because AI lacks legal personhood, its outputs are entirely unprotected and the IP is completely ambiguous. You see, current intellectual property laws were strictly and explicitly designed to reward human ingenuity, which means they leave machine-made content completely exposed to the elements. Moving on to Section 2, copyright's human requirement. There is some fantastic research on this from the Center for Innovation Research and Facilitation at Chanakya National Law University, and it brilliantly highlights the core of the issue. Academics and legal experts are analyzing this massive digital ownership gap, and they point to the immense challenge of assigning authorship to autonomous machines. The law is quite literally struggling to compute the idea of a non-human creator. Now, what's really interesting about this is just how strict the global legal standard is. Both the U.S. Copyright Act and the EU Copyright Directive require human authorship. It's a fundamental prerequisite. This means that without traditional human creativity, intuition, and judgment, AI outputs fall entirely outside current copyright boundaries. Let that sink in. If you just type a simple prompt and the AI generates an entire novel, legally speaking, that novel might instantly fall right into the public domain. You cannot claim exclusive rights to it. Which brings us to Section 3, the patent problem. Now we're getting into algorithmic inventions. Because look, we aren't just talking about chatbots writing quirky emails anymore. We're talking about agentic AI systems autonomously creating new business processes, designing novel drug compounds, or even engineering advanced materials. These are highly valuable multi-million-dollar technical innovations. But because they're created without a traditional human inventor, they are hitting a massive impenetrable legal wall when companies actually try to patent them. So the crucial point is perfectly illustrated by the famous DABUS case. DABUS is an AI system that autonomously generated two distinct inventions. Its creator, Stephen Thaler, tried to patent them, and he listed the AI as the sole inventor. And the result? Well, in the US, the USPTO rejected it outright. In Europe, the EPO rejected it. While there were some initial complexities in South Africa, the overwhelming global ruling is that an AI simply cannot be legally recognized as an inventor. A patent requires a human mind, and that leaves some massive tech innovations in a complete state of legal limbo. Let's look at Section 4, blockchain's unfulfilled promise. Naturally, the tech world attempted to patch these gaping IP holes using decentralized tools. And theoretically, the solution sounds brilliant. It acts like a modern digital rights management system. Step 1, you take an AI-generated asset and register the work on an unalterable blockchain ledger to prove you were the first one to claim it. Step 2, you automate your licensing via smart contracts. And step 3, those contracts distribute automatic royalty payments anytime the asset is used. On paper, it's a perfect self-enforcing ecosystem for digital assets. But here is the illusion of this technological fix. As highlighted in that CNLU research we discussed earlier, non-fungible tokens, NFTs, do not automatically confer underlying intellectual property rights to the owner. Just because you have a token on a blockchain doesn't mean you own the copyright to the image it points to. We've seen this play out in high-profile legal battles, like Dapper Labs versus the SEC. Decentralized blockchain tools deeply struggle to hold up when they are tested in traditional, centralized legal systems. A smart contract, unfortunately, cannot override foundational property law. All right, Section 5, Jurisdictional Nightmares. And this brilliantly illustrates the core friction here. The foundation of our global copyright system is the Berne Convention. It was signed in 1886. To put that into perspective, we are trying to regulate lightning-fast, autonomous AI using laws written before the invention of the internet, heck, before the invention of the airplane. The 1994 TRIPS Agreement and the 1996 IIPO treaties are similarly outdated when faced with tools that literally evolve on a weekly basis. The 2023 EUA Act is a start, for sure, but it just highlights how agonizingly slow international treaties move compared to the speed of modern tech. This friction creates an absolute enforcement nightmare. Traditional IP law is strictly territorial. It's bound by national borders. But cyberspace and AI, they exist in a totally borderless digital domain. Traditional law relies heavily on centralized enforcement, which clashes completely with the decentralized networks of modern tech. And most importantly, traditional law requires identifiable human actors to hold accountable, whereas the digital world operates on pseudonymous, global transactions. These two paradigms are just colliding head-on, leaving digital business owners completely exposed. Finally, Section 6, the future of IP. Let's move to and see how this builds a path forward, because researchers and policymakers are actively working on necessary legal reforms. First up, sui generis, or entirely unique legal protections, specifically designed for AI works, giving them a distinct status that's completely separate from human copyright. Second, we're looking at hybrid authorship models that allow rights to be shared between a human prompter and an AI system. Third, legally recognized, standardized blockchain IP registries, so digital ownership actually holds up in court. And finally, harmonized global frameworks, so an asset protected in the US isn't immediately vulnerable overseas. We absolutely have to balance rapid technological innovation with actual legal security. I really want to leave you with this final, provocative thought. With AI model providers constantly updating and deprecating their systems, and the law refusing to grant copyright or patents to AI outputs, you have to ask yourself, are you building a business on IP you don't actually own? It's a massive, massive risk. Please take the time to urgently reevaluate your AI dependencies and your legal vulnerabilities. Understanding this gap is the very first step to protecting your future in the AI economy. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.